The wind howled like a banshee outside my window, rattling the panes against their aged frames. Inside, the flickering fire cast long, dancing shadows on the worn loom where my latest tapestry lay unfinished. But tonight, my needles lay dormant, my attention stolen by the sliver of moon peeking through the storm clouds. It was a harvest moon, full and luminous, and its light held a strange pull for me. The villagers whispered of the Fae Weaver on such nights. A beautiful, elusive creature said to dwell in the heart of the whispering woods, her touch shaping the threads of destiny with every flick of her moonlit fingers. Legends spoke of her enchanting song, a melody that could bring both unimaginable fortune and devastating curses. It was a song that had been absent for far too long. Our village, once blessed with bountiful harvests and vibrant health, had been gripped by misfortune ever since the Fae Weaver's song went silent. Crops withered in the fields, sickness stalked the cobblestone streets, and an oppressive silence had settled over the land. Tonight, with the harvest moon high in the sky, the yearning in my heart became a physical ache. Against my better judgment, I found myself drawn to the forbidden edge of the whispering woods. The gnarled branches of ancient oaks clawed at the twilight sky, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. A shiver ran down my spine as I stepped past the weathered sign marking the village boundary, its inscription stark: "Enter at your own peril." The air here was thick and alive, buzzing with unseen creatures. My heart hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs, but the pull of the moon and the promise of the lost song were stronger than my fear. Pushing deeper into the woods, I followed the faint melody carried on the wind, a song of sorrow and longing that resonated with the ache in my own soul. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught my eye. A tall figure emerged from behind a towering oak, his face obscured by the shadows. My hand instinctively went to the small silver amulet that hung around my neck, a talisman passed down through generations in my family. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice barely a whisper above the rustling leaves. The figure stepped forward, moonlight revealing a handsome face framed by dark hair. He held a long, intricately carved staff, its surface pulsing with a faint, otherworldly glow. His voice, when he spoke, was deep and calming, a stark contrast to the wild symphony of the forest. "I am Bran," he said, "and like you, I seek the lost song." He gestured to the staff in his hand. "This instrument is said to have been crafted by the Fae Weaver herself. It serves as a conduit between our world and hers." I hesitated, my heart racing. "Why do you seek the song?" "I have come to believe that the silence is not of the Fae Weaver's doing," he explained. "Something or someone has stolen her voice. It is my quest to restore it, and with it, the balance between our worlds." I found myself drawn to Bran, his confidence and determination resonating with my own. "Then I shall aid you," I declared, "for the fate of our village lies in the restoration of the song." Bran smiled, his eyes glistening in the moonlight. "You are brave, and your heart pure. I accept your aid. Together we shall journey into the heart of the whispering woods and seek out the Fae Weaver." The forest seemed to grow still around us as we walked, our steps synchronized. I felt a thrill of anticipation course through my veins, and with each step, my doubts and fears faded into the background. We wove through the trees, the enveloping darkness pressing in on all sides, until at last, we came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a massive oak, ancient and twisted, its branches spreading out like the arms of a great, mythical beast. A soft glow emanated from within its trunk, illuminating the leaves that carpeted the forest floor. The air grew thick with the scent of flowers and sweet, perfumed smoke. "This is it," Bran whispered, his voice hushed with reverence. "The tree of life, the heart of the whispering woods, and the home of the Fae Weaver." I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly dry. "And the key to restoring the song?" Bran nodded. "Aye," he said, "but we must be cautious. The Fae Weaver is a capricious creature, and her anger is not something to be taken lightly." With that, he took a step forward, reaching out to touch the ancient tree. "Fae Weaver," he called, his voice echoing through the forest. "We have come to restore your song, and return balance to the world. We beg your audience." For what seemed like an eternity, nothing happened. I began to wonder if our quest was in vain, when a soft rustling filled the air, and the leaves of the great oak began to tremble. A figure emerged from within the trunk, her form indistinct in the shadows. As her features came into focus, I gasped. She was more beautiful than any mortal could ever hope to be. Her skin was the color of cream, her eyes the deepest green, and her hair a cascade of liquid gold that tumbled down her back. "Who dares disturb the Fae Weaver?" she demanded, her voice like the song of 1,000 birds. "And what business do you have with the lost song?" Bran stepped forward, his voice steady. "We are Bran and Aria, seekers of the song. We have come to offer our aid, and our lives if it will restore the balance between your realm and ours." The Fae Weaver considered us for a long moment, her gaze unblinking. Then, with a graceful gesture, she beckoned us closer. "Very well," she said, her voice softening. "I will hear your tale." We approached cautiously, our steps slow and measured. When we were close enough, Bran knelt before her, his head bowed. "Fae Weaver," he began, "it is said that you created the song, and that it is your duty to keep it safe. But something has stolen it from us, and in its absence, our world has grown cold and dark." The Fae Weaver inclined her head, a small smile playing at the corners of her lips. "You speak truly," she said. "But the thief is not one of my kind. It is a mortal, foolish and vain, who seeks to wield the power of the song for his own gain." Bran's eyes widened. "Then we must find him, and stop him at all costs." "No," the Fae Weaver said, her voice gentle. "To fight the thief would be to play into his hands. Instead, you must use your wits and your courage to outsmart him. Only then can the song be restored." She paused, her expression turning pensive. "The thief's name is Angus. He lives in a grand palace at the heart of the mortal realm. If you can find him there, and persuade him to return the song, you may yet succeed." I felt a surge of hope well up inside me. "Thank you, Fae Weaver," I said, bowing my head in gratitude. "We will not fail you." The Fae Weaver nodded, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "I know you won't," she said, "for I have seen the light of determination in your hearts. Now go, and may the winds of fate guide your steps." With a final nod, she disappeared back into the depths of the great oak. Bran and I stood for a moment, taking in the silence that had returned to the whispering woods, before turning to make our way back through the trees. The journey ahead would be long and perilous, but with the Fae Weaver's words ringing in our ears, we knew that we had a chance to restore the song, and bring balance back to our world. The days that followed were filled with travel, as we made our way on foot toward the mortal realm. We slept beneath the stars, foraged for food in the forests, and crossed treacherous rivers, our minds constantly on the task that lay before us. As we neared Angus' palace, we discussed our plan of attack, rehearsing our arguments and honing our wits. "You truly believe we can convince him to give up the song?" I asked Bran, as we paused in the shadows of a ruined temple. He nodded, his expression determined. "Yes, I do. The Fae Weaver trusts us, and she knows more about the world than anyone. She would not have sent us here if she did not believe we could succeed." His words gave me strength, and we continued on, our steps more confident than ever. Eventually, we reached the outskirts of the city, and there it was, Angus' palace, a shining beacon of gold and glass, surrounded by carefully tended gardens. We spent the night in the woods, hiding from guards and planning our approach. When the sun rose, we made our way toward the palace gates, our hearts pounding with anticipation and fear. As we waited in line to be admitted, I couldn't help but feel as though the world was watching us, waiting to see if we would succeed. At last, our turn came, and we were led into the opulent great hall. Angus sat upon his throne, a regal figure with long, golden hair and eyes the color of midnight. He looked at us expectantly, as if he knew why we had come. Bran stepped forward, his voice steady and true. "We have come to speak with you, Angus. We know that you hold the lost song, and we beg you to return it. The world is dying without it, and only you have the power to save us." Angus laughed, a cold and mocking sound. "Oh, how quaint! You think I would simply give up the power I've fought so long for? The power to shape the world as I see fit?" He leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "I tell you now, mortals, that the song is mine, and I will not part with it until I have seen my dreams come true." I felt a surge of anger rise within me at his arrogance, but Bran merely bowed his head, his expression sad and sympathetic. "We understand that you have suffered great losses, Angus," he said. "We know that you believe the song can bring back what you have lost. But the song does not belong to you. It belongs to the world. And without it, we are all doomed." For a long moment, Angus was silent, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he stood and walked around his throne, coming to stand before us. "You are brave to come here, mortals," he said, his voice softer now. "You are right, of course. The song does not belong to me. It belongs to all of us. But I am not a selfish man. If you can prove to me that you are worthy, if you can show me that you can use the song's power for the greater good, then I will give it to you." Bran and I exchanged a quick glance, our hearts pounding with hope. "What must we do, Angus?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "What must we prove to you?" Angus smiled then, a sad and weary smile. "You must find a way to restore balance to the world. You must bring peace to the lands that have been torn apart by war, and prosperity to those who have known only suffering. You must show me that you can use the song's power to heal the wounds that have been inflicted upon us all. Only then will I give you the song, and only then will you truly have earned the right to wield its power." With that, Angus returned to his throne, and the guards led us from the hall. As we walked back through the gardens and out of the city gates, we were both lost in thought, contemplating the task that lay before us. The world was indeed in dire straits, and it seemed as though the weight of it all was pressing down upon our shoulders. The journey back to the Whispering Woods was filled with a newfound urgency. We no longer just sought the Fae Weaver's song, we carried the burden of wielding its power responsibly. The stories whispered on the wind now spoke of suffering villages and warring factions, their pleas intermingling with the rustling leaves. "Angus' challenge is daunting," I said, my voice heavy with worry. "How can two people possibly bring peace to a world teetering on the brink of chaos?" Bran, ever the optimist, placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "We have the song, Aria. Once we return it to the Fae Weaver, it will be a powerful tool, a melody that can inspire hope and cooperation. We may not be able to solve every conflict, but we can certainly plant the seeds of peace." Hope flickered within me, a fragile flame that needed nurturing. We arrived at the clearing bathed in moonlight, the ancient oak pulsating with a gentle luminescence. The Fae Weaver emerged, her form ethereal in the silvery light. "You return," she said, her voice a soothing melody. "Have you retrieved the song?" Bran explained our encounter with Angus, his words laced with both frustration and newfound determination. The Fae Weaver listened intently, her expression unreadable. "Angus is not entirely wrong," she conceded when he finished. "The song is a powerful tool, capable of immense good or terrible harm. It requires a pure heart and a clear mind to wield it effectively." With a flick of her wrist, she produced a shimmering silver orb that pulsed with a soft inner light. "This," she declared, "is the vessel that holds the song. It will only resonate with those worthy of its power." Taking the orb, I felt a surge of energy course through me. It was warm, comforting, and brimming with a strange potential. "But how do we use it?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "The song is not a spell to be cast," the Fae Weaver explained. "It is a melody to be played. Its true power lies in the emotions it evokes, the yearning for peace and harmony that it awakens within the listener. She gestured towards Bran's staff, now glowing brighter than ever. Use this staff, she continued, as a conduit. Let the song flow through you, through the staff, and into the world. We spent the rest of the night under the watchful gaze of the Fae Weaver, practicing. I closed my eyes, focusing on the swirling emotions within the silver orb, the longing for peace, the yearning for unity, the hope for a brighter future. Bran, in turn, channeled this energy into his staff, weaving it into a melody that resonated through the clearing. By dawn, we were exhausted, but a sense of purpose fueled our steps. We set out, not for any specific location, but for any place where the song was needed most. Our journey led us through war-torn villages and famine-stricken towns. With each performance, a ripple of change began to spread. Enemies lowered their weapons, hesitant smiles were exchanged, and seeds of cooperation were sown. The road was long and arduous, filled with moments of despair and setbacks. Yet, with each act of peace we witnessed, our resolve grew stronger. We became symbols of hope, a testament to the Fae Weaver's power and the potential good that resided within humanity. Finally, after months of travel, we reached the heart of the conflict, a sprawling fortress where the most powerful warlord resided. The air crackled with tension as we approached the gates, but we pressed on, determined to offer our song as a peace offering. The warlord, a hulking figure with a scarred face, listened to our plea with skepticism. But as the melody flowed from Bran's staff, a change flickered across his hardened features. He lowered his head, his eyes welling up for the first time in years. "I have seen enough bloodshed," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "The song speaks the truth, we have all lost too much." News of the warlord's surrender spread like wildfire, igniting a wave of peace across the land. Villages rose from the ashes, and prosperity slowly began to bloom. We had not ended all conflict, but we had planted the seeds of a future where the Fae Weaver's song could continue to guide humanity towards a brighter path. Our journey wasn't over. There were still conflicts to resolve, hearts to mend, and songs to be sung. But as we stood on a hilltop, overlooking a landscape bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, a sense of peace settled over us. We had faced our challenges, and together, we had restored not just the song, but the balance of the world. Bran and I looked at each other, our eyes meeting, communicating a shared understanding. We didn't need to speak. The years of travel, the hardships we had faced, the lessons we had learned from the Fae Weaver and the people we had met along the way, had forged a bond between us that transcended words. A comfortable silence settled between us, the only sound the gentle sighing of the wind through the tall grass. As we stood there, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, I couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey we had shared. From the moment we met in the Whispering Woods, a bond had formed between us, forged in hardship and fueled by a common purpose. We had faced danger together, stared down death countless times, and emerged stronger for it. We had learned to rely on each other, to anticipate each other's needs, and to find solace in each other's presence even in the darkest of times. Bran's unwavering optimism had been a constant source of strength for me, while my determination, I believed, had helped him weather the storms of doubt that inevitably arose. Looking into his eyes, I saw a depth of emotion that I hadn't noticed before. A flicker of something more than gratitude, a spark of something akin to the warmth that bloomed in my own chest. Perhaps it was the shared experience, the way we had seen the best and worst of humanity together. Perhaps it was the simple fact that we were two souls who had found solace and understanding in each other's company. Whatever it was, a new realization dawned on me. The bond we shared transcended the boundaries of friendship. It was a connection deeper, a yearning for something more. But whether it was the right time to explore those feelings, I wasn't sure. The world was still healing, and our mission was far from over. With a soft sigh, I turned away from Bran, my gaze drawn back to the horizon. Yet, even as I did, I felt the warmth of his presence beside me, a silent promise that whatever the future held, we would face it together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden light upon the ruins of an ancient temple, Bran turned to me. "Do you think she's watching us?" he asked softly, his voice barely audible above the soft rustle of the wind. I nodded, a smile playing at the corners of my lips. "I like to think she is." Together, we walked towards the temple, its crumbling walls and statues standing as a testament to the fragility of civilization. As we neared, we could hear the faint strains of music wafting through the air, carried on the breeze. It was a song of hope, of resilience, of the enduring power of the human spirit. And so, we continued on our journey, our eyes fixed on the horizon, our hearts filled with the music of the Fae Weaver. We knew that there would be more hardships, more challenges, more moments when we would be tested. But with each step we took, with each note we sang, we felt a sense of purpose, of destiny, of being connected to something greater than ourselves. And in the end, that was all that really mattered. We spent the rest of our days traveling from village to village, spreading the word of the Fae Weaver and her gift. Bran's staff, once a symbol of death and destruction, now radiated a warm, golden light, its power harnessed to bring peace and understanding to a world torn apart by conflict. And I sang. I sang of the beauty that could be found in the smallest of moments, of the strength that lay dormant within the hearts of the broken. I sang of the endless cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth, and how each passing season brought with it the promise of new beginnings. My voice now soared like a beacon of hope, guiding lost souls back to the light. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories, give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.